On a fog-laden New York morning, the towering skyscrapers of Manhattan loomed through the haze, casting faint, ghostly outlines against a pale sky. High above the bustling streets, in a grand, elegantly minimalist office on the 52nd floor, William Lawrence stood quietly by the window. His gaze drifted out, unfocused, through the condensation that lightly clouded the glass. At 58, William carried himself with an authoritative presence. Yet beneath his neatly tailored navy suit and polished demeanor, age revealed itself subtly in the fine wrinkles around his tired eyes, the silver threads threading through his otherwise dark hair, and the quiet weariness in his stance. His desk, a sprawling expanse of polished mahogany, was meticulously arranged, save for the piles of documents awaiting his attention. Among these papers, slightly apart from the rest, sat a small picture frame, one carefully preserved through decades. Inside, a photograph displayed a young girl with golden curls cascading past her shoulders, her bright blue eyes sparkling with innocence, a radiant, joyous smile illuminating her face. Each morning, William confronted this image, always feeling the same bittersweet pang deep within his chest. With a slow, gentle sigh, he reached out, fingertips brushing the cool, silver edge of the frame, as if it could somehow bridge the impossible chasm of time and memory. "Claire," he whispered softly, his voice tinged with an ache that had never diminished. "Have a good day, my sweet girl." 30 years had passed since the unimaginable tragedy, yet the ritual remained unchanged. Each dawn, he allowed himself this moment of quiet vulnerability before resuming his carefully constructed persona as William Lawrence, CEO of Lawrence Enterprises, one of America's most respected and influential businessmen. A gentle knock at the door disrupted his reverie, pulling him abruptly back to the present. "Come in," he answered, swiftly regaining his professional tone, his expression hardening back into a composed mask. James Miller, William's trusted chief secretary and right-hand man, entered confidently. James was a seasoned professional, having worked alongside William for nearly 20 years. His composed demeanor rarely faltered, accustomed as he was to his boss's shifting moods and exacting standards. "Good morning, Mr. Lawrence," James greeted smoothly, setting down a neatly organized folder on the corner of William's desk. "Here are today's briefing materials and your schedule." "Thank you, James." William's voice was crisp, almost emotionless, a stark contrast to the tender whisper of just moments before. James paused, hesitating briefly before continuing, his tone slightly softer. "Today is the start date for your new secretary, Emily Scott. She's the candidate we interviewed last month, the one with an impressive resume." William nodded slowly, recalling their earlier discussions. "Ah, yes, Emily Scott. Her credentials did stand out." James offered a small, professional smile. "She's waiting outside to meet you." "Send her in," William instructed, settling himself into his high-backed chair, carefully slipping Claire's photo into the privacy of his desk drawer, a habitual act that felt almost sacred. The door opened once more, revealing Emily Scott framed in the doorway, poised yet clearly nervous. She was strikingly professional in appearance, dressed in a tailored dark gray suit that highlighted her slender figure. Her dark brown hair cascaded elegantly to her shoulders, and her deep, intelligent eyes briefly met William's gaze before she spoke. "Good morning, Mr. Lawrence," Emily greeted, her voice steady despite the evident tension in her posture. "It's an honor to meet you. I look forward to working with you." William studied her briefly, a strange, inexplicable sensation washing over him. Something about her delicate facial structure, the subtle lift of her cheekbones, the slight curve of her lips felt disturbingly familiar. Yet, rationality quickly dismissed these thoughts as mere coincidence. "The pleasure is mine, Miss Scott," William responded evenly, noting her quiet confidence. "I trust you understand the high expectations here. You'll need resilience and precision." "I understand, sir," she replied without hesitation. "I'm prepared to give my absolute best." William nodded approvingly, handing her a stack of files. "Then let's get started. James will guide you through today's workflow." After Emily left the room, William found himself momentarily distracted, a soft melody playing involuntarily in his mind. It took him a second to realize it was the lullaby he used to sing to Claire each night, a gentle tune he had not allowed himself to recall in decades. The unexpected resurgence shook him subtly, leaving him quietly unsettled. As days went by, Emily seamlessly adapted to her role, swiftly impressing William with her meticulousness and intelligence. She anticipated his needs with startling accuracy, her competence gradually eroding his initial reservations. Yet, despite their professional interactions, William remained guarded, always distant, always professional. One late evening, while finalizing a contract alone in his dimly lit office, William's eyes fell upon a handwritten note left neatly on his desk by Emily. Picking it up, he froze, his heart skipping a painful beat. The elegant loops and gentle slant of the handwriting stirred something profound within him. It was a script he had not seen since his wife passed away, a handwriting eerily similar to hers. That night, alone in the silence of his penthouse, William found himself pulling out an old, forgotten photo album. With trembling hands, he opened it, each page bringing forth memories long buried beneath layers of grief. Photographs of Claire, her innocent joy captured forever in glossy images, snapshots of family picnics, birthdays, and quiet bedtime stories. Each moment a testament to a happiness he had once known and tragically lost. He turned another page, pain constricting his chest. Claire's 5th birthday, a vibrant image of her smiling radiantly at the camera, holding a balloon tightly, oblivious to the future awaiting her. Beside her stood his wife, Julia, her warm eyes filled with a love so pure and unwavering it still pierced through time. In the shadows of his luxurious but empty apartment, William closed the album, shutting his eyes tightly as tears stung, hot and unwelcome. In the quiet solitude, he softly began to sing, his voice barely above a whisper, wavering slightly with raw emotion. "Sleep, my Claire. Sweet dreams come gently." His song, fragile yet filled with unspoken longing, filled the darkness around him, an echo from a past that refused to release its grip, leaving William Lawrence suspended between cherished memories and an aching present. As dawn broke gently over Manhattan the following morning, William found himself struggling to regain his usual composed demeanor. His reflection in the bathroom mirror revealed tired eyes and a restless night's toll etched across his features. Shaving methodically, he fought to shake off lingering memories stirred up by Emily's handwriting, memories that made his heart ache and his composure fragile. At the office, he was greeted by the familiar rhythm of his daily routine, the comforting familiarity grounding him temporarily. Emily had already arrived, meticulously organizing documents, her presence quiet yet distinctly felt. William observed her discreetly, noting again the unsettling familiarity in her gentle mannerisms. The way she lightly tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, or how her eyes crinkled softly at the corners when she offered a polite smile, all subtle, poignant reminders of Julia. "Good morning, Mr. Lawrence," Emily greeted warmly, sensing his gaze and briefly meeting it with a respectful nod. Her confidence had grown noticeably since her first day, and her professionalism shone. "Morning, Miss Scott," William returned evenly, forcing himself back into a formal demeanor. He cleared his throat, focusing on the papers in front of him. "We have an important client meeting today with Anderson Pharmaceuticals. Are you ready?" "Everything is prepared, sir. I triple-checked the materials last night," Emily responded, her voice calm and assured, her eyes bright with determination. "Good," William said, genuinely impressed yet maintaining his reserve. "Let's head out soon." Later that morning, as they walked into the sleek, glass-fronted conference room, William subtly observed Emily interacting effortlessly with the executives from Anderson Pharmaceuticals. Her poise and clarity during her presentations were remarkable. Watching her, William felt a wave of pride mixed inexplicably with a deep sense of loss, feelings he struggled to reconcile. After the meeting, as they returned to the office, William finally broke the silence. "You did exceptionally well today, Emily." Emily looked momentarily surprised by the direct compliment, a shy yet appreciative smile crossing her face. "Thank you, sir. That means a lot coming from you." There was a brief pause, the silence charged with an unspoken acknowledgement. William hesitated, then spoke quietly, more to himself than her. "Your determination, it reminds me of someone." Emily's curiosity flickered briefly in her eyes, but she respectfully refrained from prying. Instead, she quietly offered, "Whoever it is, she must have been very special." William glanced away, feeling suddenly vulnerable, yet oddly comforted by her understanding. "She was," he admitted softly, unable to hide the raw edge in his voice. Over the following weeks, their relationship gradually grew more cordial. Conversations extended beyond work occasionally, carefully navigating around personal boundaries. Emily seemed intuitively sensitive to William's guarded nature, never pressing him but always gently attentive. Her thoughtful gestures, a fresh cup of coffee precisely how he preferred, notes neatly organized to ease his heavy workload, a gentle inquiry after a visibly stressful day, slowly chipped away at the emotional barriers William had built meticulously over decades. One evening, while working late yet again, William noticed Emily lingering near his office door, clearly uncertain about something. "Is something wrong, Miss Scott?" William asked gently, noticing her hesitation. Emily took a deep breath, gathering her courage. "I found something today while organizing old files in the storage room. A small box of personal items. I wasn't sure if you knew it was there." William's heart tightened instinctively. "What kind of personal items?" "Photographs, letters, mostly dated from about 30 years ago," Emily explained carefully, sensing the immediate tension in his posture. "One photo caught my eye, and I thought you might want to see it." With cautious hesitation, Emily placed an aged photograph onto his desk. William reached out slowly, his fingers trembling slightly as he lifted the picture. It was another forgotten image of Claire, a candid shot he hadn't seen in decades. She was holding a small teddy bear tightly, smiling brightly in a moment of pure joy. His chest tightened painfully, memories flooding vividly back. William's voice cracked slightly as he spoke, struggling to keep his emotions under control. "Thank you, Emily. This means a great deal." Emily, touched by his evident vulnerability, quietly offered, "If you'd like, I can help archive these items properly. They seem important." William nodded gratefully, feeling strangely comforted by her presence. "I would appreciate that very much." As Emily left his office, William sat alone, cradling the photograph carefully. His eyes blurred with tears, silently acknowledging the deep, enduring ache that Claire's memory carried. Yet beneath the familiar sorrow, something new flickered softly, a quiet sense of warmth sparked by Emily's unexpected kindness, gently reminding him that perhaps, even after such profound loss, small moments of healing were still possible. The following days saw an imperceptible yet meaningful shift in William's demeanor. He found himself anticipating Emily's gentle presence each morning, a subtle balm for the persistent ache he'd grown accustomed to carrying alone. Emily's thoughtful efficiency had become a reliable anchor amid his demanding schedule, her intuitive understanding gradually softening his long-held reserve. One crisp autumn afternoon, sunlight filtered warmly through the expansive windows of William's office, illuminating scattered papers across his desk. He leaned back thoughtfully in his chair, observing Emily as she carefully catalogued the old photos and letters they'd discovered earlier. Her careful handling of each item spoke volumes about her sensitivity, and he found himself momentarily captivated by her focused expression, the way her delicate fingers gently traced the edges of each photograph. "Miss Scott," William spoke softly, breaking the comfortable silence. "You seem unusually dedicated to preserving these memories. May I ask why?" Emily paused, placing a photograph gently down before meeting his gaze, thoughtfully. Her voice was soft yet steady. "I've always believed our memories define who we are. Preserving them seems important, even if they're painful. Especially if they're painful." William felt a quiet admiration, touched by her sincere conviction. He found himself opening up slowly, cautiously venturing into territory he'd kept sealed away for decades. "My daughter, Claire, she disappeared 30 years ago," he admitted quietly, eyes shadowed by grief. "These photographs are precious because they're some of the few tangible connections I have left to her." Emily's eyes softened in profound sympathy, compassion radiating gently from her expression. "I'm so sorry," she whispered earnestly. "That kind of loss, I can't imagine the depth of your pain." "It never truly fades," William confessed quietly, surprised at his own candor. "You learn to live around it, but it remains, shaping every moment." "I understand," Emily replied softly, her voice infused with an empathetic warmth. "Though my circumstances were different, growing up without knowing my family left its own kind of ache." William felt a surge of curiosity and compassion, gently prompting, "You were adopted?" She shook her head slightly, her eyes briefly distant. "I grew up in an orphanage. My earliest memories are fragmented, mostly feelings rather than clear images. But the longing to know my roots, where I came from, that has never left me." William found himself deeply moved, an unexpected bond forming between them, built on shared vulnerabilities. "I suppose we both carry our losses in our own ways," he remarked quietly, a gentle understanding settling comfortably between them. Over the following weeks, their shared project of organizing his family's memories became more than just a professional task. It evolved into something personal, a shared emotional journey filled with quiet conversations and gentle revelations. William found comfort in Emily's presence, her sensitive understanding easing decades of isolation. One evening, while sorting through the final items, Emily paused suddenly, her gaze fixed on a faded photograph she held delicately. Her breath caught audibly, drawing William's immediate attention. "What is it, Emily?" he asked softly, noting the visible tremble in her hand. She hesitated before turning the photograph toward him, her voice barely a whisper. "This bear, the one Claire is holding, I had one exactly like it. I named mine Teddy. It's the one memory I've always clung to from before I ended up at the orphanage." William felt his heart constrict painfully, the room seeming to close in around him. He reached out slowly, gently taking the photograph from Emily. His voice quivered slightly as he spoke. Claire named hers Teddy too. It was her favorite thing in the world. A heavy silence settled over them, thick with unspoken questions and impossible possibilities. William studied Emily's face carefully, a mix of desperate hope and profound fear churning within him. "Emily," he began cautiously, choosing his words carefully, "do you recall anything more about your early childhood? Anything at all?" She closed her eyes briefly, concentrating hard. "Only fragments," she admitted softly, frustration and sadness clear in her voice. "Moments of laughter, warmth, a melody. I think someone used to sing to me. It's faint but deeply comforting." A cold chill of recognition rippled down William's spine. "A melody?" "Yes," Emily confirmed softly, her eyes moist with unexpected tears. "A lullaby, gentle and warm. It's always been the only true comfort from my past that I could hold on to." William swallowed hard, fighting overwhelming emotion. Slowly, he began humming softly, voice trembling as he offered up the lullaby he'd sung countless nights to Claire. Emily's eyes widened in shock, tears slipping silently down her cheeks as the familiar melody resonated deeply within her. "That's the song," she whispered shakily, her voice thick with emotion. "That's the lullaby for my dreams." William stood abruptly, his chair scraping sharply across the floor, heart pounding fiercely in his chest. Their eyes met in stunned silence, the weight of years between them seeming to vanish in an instant, replaced by an impossible yet undeniable truth that neither fully dared to voice. "Emily," he finally spoke, voice fragile with longing and disbelief. "Could it really be you?" She stepped forward hesitantly, her expression raw with vulnerability, hope flickering tentatively in her eyes. "I don't know," she admitted softly, tears streaming down her face. "But something inside me says it might be true." They stood together in the quiet space of William's office, suspended in the fragile hope of a long overdue reunion, each heart trembling with both fear and the profound possibility that after 30 years of aching loss, they had finally found each other once again. The quiet intensity of that moment lingered heavily in the room, each heartbeat amplifying the profound silence. William and Emily stood mere feet apart, yet a lifetime of separation, longing, and unanswered questions stretched between them, palpable in the charged air. William finally took a tentative step toward her, eyes brimming with cautious hope and deep-rooted fear of disappointment. His voice was thick with raw emotion, trembling slightly as he spoke. "We should verify this properly, Emily. Scientifically," he said gently, careful to respect her feelings. "It's not fair to either of us to leap too quickly without absolute certainty." Emily nodded slowly, her gaze reflecting his own cautious hope mingled with understandable apprehension. "You're right," she whispered softly, wiping away tears. "I've spent my whole life wishing, dreaming, and afraid to trust hope. Proof would help us both move forward clearly." Within days, arrangements were discreetly made for a DNA test. The wait for results was excruciating, each day feeling longer and heavier as they tried maintaining professional normalcy amidst overwhelming emotional uncertainty. Conversations remained guarded, yet their glances exchanged volumes, quiet assurances, tentative comforts, and unspoken hopes. Finally, the morning of the results arrived. William sat anxiously at his desk, heart racing as Emily gently knocked and stepped into his office. Her face was pale but resolute, holding the envelope containing the results securely in her trembling hands. "I waited so we could open this together," she whispered shakily, handing him the envelope. William slowly rose, stepping around his desk to stand beside her. For a brief moment, he hesitated, fearful of the outcome and the profound change it could bring. But Emily's gentle presence beside him provided silent strength, grounding him firmly. Together, he agreed quietly, carefully opening the envelope, fingers trembling slightly. They read the results silently, eyes scanning quickly through the clinical jargon until landing on the critical line. The words resonated powerfully, unequivocally. Probability of paternity, 99.999%. Time seemed to halt, reality suspended as the full weight of the truth washed over them both. William turned slowly to Emily, his heart overflowing with indescribable joy and relief. "You're Claire," he whispered brokenly, tears streaming openly down his face. "My daughter, you've come back." Emily, overwhelmed by emotion, allowed herself to finally break, stepping into her father's open embrace. William wrapped his arms around her tightly, holding on to the daughter he'd lost and found, his heart mending and breaking simultaneously in that precious reunion. "I never stopped searching for you," William murmured fiercely, voice thick with years of longing. "Never stopped hoping." Emily buried her face against his shoulder, feeling an immense sense of belonging and relief flooding through her. "I've been searching for you too, even when I didn't realize it," she whispered softly, voice shaking. "My heart always knew someone was missing." Their embrace lasted for a long, healing moment, a profound sense of rightness settling comfortably between them. When they finally stepped back, William gently cupped Emily's face, marveling softly. "You've grown into such an extraordinary woman, Claire," he said reverently, savoring the name he'd longed to speak again for decades. Emily, now Claire, smiled through her tears, deeply moved. "I want to get to know who I am as your daughter, who Claire was supposed to be," she admitted softly. "I want to reclaim my true name." William's eyes shone brightly with pride and joy. "And I want nothing more than to help you find her," he vowed passionately. "Together, we'll rediscover everything we lost." News of their incredible reunion spread carefully through their close circles, met initially with disbelief and then heartfelt joy. James Miller, William's trusted confidant, had tears of genuine happiness when he learned the news. "William," he said warmly, embracing his longtime friend tightly, "I always prayed this day would come for you." The weeks following their reunion became a time of gentle discovery and deep bonding. William and Claire spent evenings and weekends slowly reclaiming lost time, shared dinners filled with warm conversation, quiet walks in Central Park where William shared cherished stories of her childhood, and evenings at home poring through family albums as he introduced Claire to the mother she never got to know fully. One quiet night, seated side by side on the living room sofa, Claire tentatively reached for an old journal belonging to Julia, William's late wife. "May I?" she asked softly, sensing its profound importance. William nodded, eyes warm with gentle encouragement. "Your mother would have loved for you to read her words. She adored you endlessly." Claire opened the journal carefully, reading the heartfelt entries aloud quietly, Julia's tender voice echoing warmly through her daughter's gentle tones. Today, Claire laughed for the first time. It was the most beautiful sound in the world. William and I looked at each other, speechless and full of wonder. Our daughter's laughter, pure magic. William listened silently, tears quietly tracing down his cheeks as Claire continued reading her mother's thoughts, feeling Julia's warmth wrapping around them both from beyond the years, knitting their family back together piece by precious piece. The days following their confirmed reunion were filled with tender adjustments and profound revelations, gradually reshaping their lives into something beautifully familiar yet refreshingly new. William found himself increasingly drawn into moments of quiet awe as he observed Claire navigating the intricacies of her reclaimed identity with grace and resilience. One crisp weekend morning, William invited Claire to visit the old family home in upstate New York, a sprawling estate nestled amidst lush trees and rolling hills. It had stood empty for decades, preserved in a bittersweet silence after Claire's disappearance and Julia's passing. As their car pulled into the long, winding driveway, Nostalgia settled heavily around William, each turn familiar yet infused with layers of loss and now newfound hope. "It's beautiful," Claire whispered reverently, stepping out and gazing up at the grand yet inviting facade. Her voice trembled slightly with emotion, sensing the deep history embedded in the walls around her. William stepped beside her, his eyes gentle with memories. "Your mother dreamed of filling this place with family, warmth, and love. Losing you changed everything. Coming back here now, with you, it feels like we're finally reclaiming what was always meant to be ours." They moved slowly through the house together, William softly narrating moments from the past. Each room sparked vivid recollections: afternoons spent painting in the sunlit parlor, Christmases around the fireplace, bedtime stories told in hushed, comforting tones. William's voice frequently broke with emotion, yet Claire listened attentively, her expression a mix of wonder, sorrow, and deep appreciation. In her childhood room, preserved exactly as it had been decades before, Claire paused at the doorway, her breath catching slightly. Her eyes widened at the delicate wallpaper adorned with tiny flowers, stuffed animals neatly arranged on shelves, and a small, worn teddy bear placed gently atop her bed. Tears welled instantly. "That's Teddy," she whispered emotionally, stepping forward to tenderly pick up the beloved bear. The familiar weight and texture flooded her senses with fragmented memories, making her tremble softly. William watched quietly from the doorway, his heart aching yet swelling with profound relief and joy. "Your mother and I always believed you would come home," he murmured softly, voice thick with emotion. "We couldn't bring ourselves to let go." Claire clutched Teddy closer, turning to face her father, eyes filled with gratitude and love. "Thank you for never giving up," she whispered fiercely. "For never losing hope." William approached gently, pulling Claire into a comforting embrace. "Hope was all I had left," he admitted softly, stroking her hair gently. "You were always my hope." Their weekend continued peacefully, exploring the expansive grounds and rediscovering small joys together. Quiet walks around the gardens Julia had lovingly cultivated, sharing meals prepared together in the spacious kitchen, and evenings spent quietly talking beneath a canopy of stars. One particularly clear night, seated together on the porch wrapped in warm blankets, Claire finally voiced a question that had lingered gently between them. "Tell me more about Mom," she requested softly, eyes searching the stars for comfort. "I want to know everything, the little things, the big things." Who she was beyond the photographs and journals. William smiled tenderly, the depth of his love for Julia evident in his soft expression. "She was brilliant and fiercely compassionate," he began thoughtfully, voice gentle yet reverent. "She loved deeply and freely, always putting others first. Her laughter could light up an entire room, and her quiet strength was something I always admired." He continued, sharing anecdotes of Julia's life, her quiet generosity toward friends, her stubborn determination in pursuing charitable causes, her playful sense of humor that often caught him off guard, bringing laughter even on difficult days. Claire listened intently, absorbing every detail, laughing softly at humorous anecdotes, eyes filling with tears at touching moments. She always saw the good in everything and everyone, William concluded softly, eyes distant with cherished memories. Losing you broke something fundamental within her. She tried so hard to hold on to hope, but grief eventually overwhelmed her. Claire reached out gently, placing her hand comfortingly on William's. "I'm so sorry," she whispered softly. "I wish I could have eased her pain, yours too." William squeezed her hand gently, eyes filled with sincere warmth. "You being here right now heals more than you could ever imagine, Claire." As evening fell gently over the estate, Casting the house in warm amber hues, they stood together quietly on the porch, hearts intimately connected in shared grief, love, and newfound hope. In that serene twilight moment, William softly hummed their cherished lullaby, wrapping an arm gently around Claire's shoulders. The melody wove seamlessly into the evening air, its notes intertwining gently with their quiet breathing, knitting together past and present, sorrow and joy, loss and recovery, into a tapestry rich with enduring love. Autumn deepened, draping the New York countryside in shades of gold and crimson. As William and Claire continued rebuilding their fragile yet strengthening relationship, the boundaries between past and present gently blurred, allowing them to reclaim lost moments with each shared experience. Back in Manhattan, news of their reunion gradually spread through Lawrence Enterprises, initially met with disbelief, soon replaced by heartfelt celebration. Employees, both old and new, approached William and Claire with genuine warmth, deeply moved by the miraculous reunion that had unfolded before them. Amidst the vibrant yet emotional whirlwind, Claire found herself navigating an entirely new identity, not merely as William's daughter, but also as someone deeply embedded within the fabric of the company. William watched Claire's integration into the corporate environment with quiet pride and occasional concern, protective instincts occasionally surfacing. One evening, after an extensive executive meeting, he noticed Claire lingering pensively near the conference room window, her gaze distant. He approached quietly, standing beside her as they overlooked the city's skyline bathed in the soft, golden glow of sunset. "Is everything all right, Claire?" he gently asked, sensing the turmoil behind her composed expression. Claire sighed softly, turning to meet his eyes, vulnerability etched into her gaze. "It's just overwhelming sometimes. The responsibility, the expectations, everyone looking at me and seeing your daughter, expecting me to seamlessly fit into this role. What if I can't live up to their expectations?" William placed a reassuring hand gently on her shoulder. "Claire, you don't need to carry this alone," he assured her tenderly. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone, least of all me." She smiled gratefully yet uncertainly, nodding softly. "I want to live up to the legacy you and Mom built," she confessed earnestly. "But sometimes it feels overwhelming." William gently squeezed her shoulder, eyes kind and supportive. "Your mother and I never wanted perfection, Claire. We wanted happiness for you always. Whatever you choose to do or become, as long as it brings you happiness, that's enough for us." Deeply touched, Claire felt warmth spreading through her, comforted profoundly by his words. "Thank you," she whispered sincerely. "I needed to hear that." In the days following, Claire continued adapting with renewed confidence, finding her footing within the company and embracing opportunities to learn and grow under William's careful mentorship. Each professional success brought quiet pride to William's eyes, yet their connection continued extending far beyond the corporate walls. Shared dinners, evening strolls, and weekend visits to meaningful places became treasured rituals that deepened their bond further. One particularly serene evening, William invited Claire to accompany him to a formal charity gala, an event Julia had passionately supported during her life. Standing side by side in elegant attire, William felt immense pride looking at his daughter. Beautiful, poised, and resilient, the embodiment of their family's enduring strength. The event was filled with influential guests who warmly greeted the reunited father and daughter. William gently guided Claire through introductions, ensuring she felt comfortable amidst the glittering crowd. The evening passed beautifully, laughter and meaningful conversations punctuating the night. However, during a quieter moment, Claire found herself stepping away momentarily, overwhelmed by the intensity of the evening. She wandered toward a quiet balcony overlooking Central Park, savoring the cool, calming breeze. William soon joined her, sensing her absence keenly. Feeling overwhelmed, he asked softly, placing a comforting hand lightly on her shoulder. Claire nodded gently, voice soft with emotion. It's just a lot to process. Being here, surrounded by people who knew Mom, who knew our family before everything. William's eyes softened with understanding. Your mother loved these events. She believed deeply in their mission and wanted to make the world better. She'd be incredibly proud seeing you here tonight. Claire's eyes shimmered gently with tears, deeply touched. I wish she could be here with us. William embraced her warmly, voice quiet and full of gentle reassurance. She is with us, Claire. In our hearts, our memories, in everything beautiful we see. She never truly left. Claire closed her eyes briefly, comforted deeply by his presence, the connection between them growing steadily stronger. When she opened her eyes again, determination shone clearly within them. Dad, she began thoughtfully, I want to honor Mom's legacy more directly. Could we consider expanding our charity work, especially supporting missing children and their families? It feels important to me. William smiled warmly, pride and admiration shining openly in his eyes. That would be wonderful, Claire. Your mother would be incredibly proud. And so am I. Together, beneath the quiet, starry sky, they shared a peaceful moment of unity, purpose, and healing, committed to creating a future built upon hope, love, and the enduring legacy Julia had left behind. Winter settled softly over New York City, dusting rooftops with delicate snowflakes and bathing the bustling streets in gentle hues of white. As the city transformed beneath winter's embrace, William and Claire's bond grew steadily deeper, nourished by shared memories and newfound connections. Driven by Claire's heartfelt desire to honor her mother's legacy, they established the Julia Lawrence Foundation, a charitable organization dedicated to aiding missing children and supporting their families. William proudly watched Claire take initiative, confidently stepping into her role as a compassionate leader, her dedication warmly embraced by employees and community members alike. On the day of the Foundation's official launch, an elegant yet intimate event was organized at a prestigious gallery in downtown Manhattan. William stood beside Claire, quietly admiring the poised, eloquent woman she'd become. Her speech that evening captivated attendees, her voice steady yet filled with sincere passion as she spoke of her personal journey and deep commitment to helping others experiencing similar losses. In losing family, we lose part of ourselves, Claire declared gently, her eyes moist with genuine emotion yet shining brightly with hope. But in seeking answers, offering comfort, and providing support, we find purpose again, a pathway toward healing. The applause that filled the room resonated deeply, genuine and heartfelt. William stood quietly to the side, pride evident in his soft smile, eyes shimmering with quiet tears as applause echoed around them. Afterwards, mingling comfortably among the guests, Claire caught sight of an elderly woman observing her closely from across the room. Curious, she approached slowly, offering a warm, welcoming smile. The woman's eyes were gentle and searching, her voice soft yet filled with quiet intensity. Claire, you may not remember me, but I was your nanny, Margaret Edwards. I cared for you when you were very young, before everything changed. Claire's heart surged with emotion, tears immediately filling her eyes. Margaret, she whispered, the name emerging instinctively from a deep, hidden recess of memory. I remember you. They embraced warmly, tears flowing freely. Margaret gently cupped Claire's face, eyes sparkling with warmth. Seeing you again, it's a miracle, she whispered softly. Your parents never stopped loving you, never stopped hoping. Claire smiled tearfully, deeply touched. I know. And now that hope brought us back together. William approached quietly, heart swelling at the reunion unfolding before him. Margaret turned, embracing William tightly, tears mingling as they shared an emotional moment. You found her, Margaret murmured softly, gratitude evident in her voice. Julia would be so happy, William. So incredibly proud. William nodded silently, overwhelmed by emotion. I can feel her here tonight, Margaret, he confessed gently. In Claire's voice, her strength, and the kindness she carries within her. As the evening progressed, the celebration gradually subsided, leaving a profound, peaceful quiet settling over William and Claire. Returning home together afterward, a thoughtful silence enveloped them, filled with quiet gratitude and profound reflection. Later, seated comfortably together near the softly glowing fireplace in William's penthouse, Claire gently broke the quiet moment of reflection. Dad, she asked thoughtfully, voice hesitant yet curious, could you tell me more about what Mom was like when you first met her? The early days. William smiled warmly, eyes distant with cherished memories. Your mother was extraordinary from the very beginning, brilliant, spirited, fiercely independent. We met in college, at a charity event much like tonight's. She immediately caught my attention with her passion for making the world better. He continued quietly, recounting tender anecdotes from their courtship, the gentle humor they shared, late-night conversations that lasted until dawn, and quiet dreams they built together beneath starry skies. She had a way of making everything around her brighter, William finished softly, his eyes moist with tender nostalgia. Loving her was the easiest thing I've ever done. Claire listened intently, smiling softly, deeply moved by his genuine affection. She must have felt incredibly loved, Dad. William reached out gently, covering her hand with his own warmly. Your mother was my heart, Claire. Losing her was devastating. But having you here now, I feel a part of her has finally returned to me. As the night waned gently toward dawn, father and daughter shared quiet moments of connection, gently weaving together threads of past, present, and future. In the warmth of their shared memories and quiet dreams, they discovered a profound sense of completeness, realizing fully that their reunion had not merely restored what was lost, but had granted them an extraordinary chance to build something new and deeply beautiful from the pieces left behind. Winter softened gently into early spring, breathing warmth and renewal across Manhattan. With each passing day, William and Claire's bond deepened, gently healing wounds long carried in quiet isolation. The Julia Lawrence Foundation flourished under Claire's compassionate leadership, quickly becoming a respected and beloved institution known for its commitment to hope, family reunions, and healing. William found a renewed sense of purpose through Claire's vision, supporting her initiatives with pride and quiet admiration. Their partnership within the foundation strengthened their familial bonds, bridging the gaps of lost time. Yet beneath the professional successes lay even deeper personal connections, cherished evenings spent reminiscing, heartfelt laughter shared over simple dinners, and quiet, tender exchanges that gradually filled the emotional void left by decades of separation. One clear March afternoon, William and Claire visited Central Park, the city cloaked in the delicate beauty of early spring blossoms. As they strolled leisurely, William gently pointed toward a secluded bench tucked beneath blooming cherry trees, his voice warm with nostalgia. This was one of your mother's favorite spots, he reminisced softly, eyes tender. We would bring you here on weekends, and you would chase butterflies, laughing endlessly. Claire smiled gently, imagining vividly the joyful scenes her father described. She paused thoughtfully, studying the serene surroundings. It's strange. I feel connected here somehow, even though my memories are fragmented. Maybe some experiences remain deeper than memory. William nodded gently, eyes misted with emotion. Perhaps the heart remembers even when the mind forgets. As spring blossomed fully, Claire proposed hosting a large-scale awareness campaign through the foundation to support families of missing children, culminating in a major fundraising gala. William immediately embraced the idea, deeply moved by her commitment and passion. Preparations for the event brought father and daughter closer still, working side by side with shared enthusiasm. As they prepared invitations one evening, Claire hesitated briefly, looking thoughtfully at her father. "Dad," she began tentatively, "I'd like to speak at the gala, publicly share our story fully for the first time. It feels important, especially if it can help others find hope." William regarded her gently, eyes filled with quiet pride. "Claire, that's incredibly brave. Are you sure you're ready?" She nodded slowly, voice steady yet filled with quiet determination. "I am. If sharing our story helps even one family heal or find closure, it'll be worth it." On the evening of the gala, the venue, a luxurious hotel ballroom elegantly adorned with delicate flowers and warm lighting, buzzed with anticipation. Distinguished guests, families, supporters, and media representatives gathered, their shared compassion creating an atmosphere of solidarity. Standing confidently beside William, Claire approached the microphone, quiet resolve radiating gently from her. The room hushed respectfully as she began speaking, her voice gentle yet profoundly resonant. "I spent much of my life not knowing who I was or where I belonged. Today, standing here beside my father, I am reminded of the powerful bonds that connect us, even through unimaginable loss. Hope, determination, and relentless love brought us back together." William watched, his heart swelling with overwhelming emotion as Claire continued, her words touching deeply every listener. "We established the Julia Lawrence Foundation in honor of my mother, but it's also a tribute to every family holding on to hope, every parent still searching, every child waiting to be found. Through compassion, dedication, and community support, healing becomes possible." As applause filled the room, William stepped forward quietly, embracing Claire warmly. Their eyes met, silently exchanging mutual pride and deep affection. The evening unfolded beautifully, filled with heartfelt conversations, generous contributions, and renewed commitments to their shared mission. Later that night, as guests departed, William and Claire stood quietly near a large window overlooking the city's twinkling skyline. William gently squeezed Claire's hand, voice soft yet deeply meaningful. "You honored your mother beautifully tonight. She would have been incredibly proud, Claire." "I am incredibly proud." Claire leaned gently against him, finding deep comfort and peace in her father's warmth. "We did this together, Dad. For her, for us, for everyone still waiting." Beneath the starry New York sky, father and daughter stood quietly together, hearts intimately entwined through loss, hope, and the profound bonds of family. Each quiet breath carried them gently forward, honoring the past, treasuring their present, and embracing the promise of a deeply meaningful future. As spring matured into early summer, Manhattan blossomed vibrantly, the city alive with renewed energy and warmth. William and Claire's bond had grown even stronger, their relationship now a harmonious blend of shared history and newfound connections. The success of the gala had significantly boosted the Julia Lawrence Foundation's visibility, transforming it into a beacon of hope and compassion. One sunny June afternoon, William and Claire decided to visit Julia's resting place, a serene, beautifully landscaped cemetery on the outskirts of the city. Gentle breezes rustled softly through the leaves as father and daughter approached the familiar site, carrying fresh bouquets of Julia's favorite flowers. Quietly kneeling beside the grave, Claire placed her flowers gently, her voice tender, with quiet reverence.
Hi, Mom.
It's Claire. I wish we could have shared more time, but I promise to honor your memory every day. Thank you for never giving up on me. William stood quietly nearby, deeply touched by Claire's heartfelt words. After a moment, he knelt beside her, placing his own flowers softly. His voice was gentle, yet deeply emotional as he spoke to Julia. Our daughter's finally home, Julia. She's everything you hoped she'd be. Strong, kind, passionate. You would be so proud. They sat quietly together for a while, enveloped in a peaceful silence that held deep comfort and gentle healing. Eventually, Claire turned to William, her eyes soft yet bright with new resolve. Dad, being here, feeling Mom's presence, I feel deeply that we should keep expanding the Foundation's reach. I'd like to set up a special scholarship program in her name to support youth who have experienced family separation or loss. William smiled warmly, pride shining clearly in his gaze. That's a wonderful idea, Claire. Your mother always believed education could change lives. She would love this. Over the following weeks, Claire passionately spearheaded the scholarship initiative, her dedication resonating powerfully with the community. William supported her wholeheartedly, deeply impressed by her genuine compassion and strong leadership. The Julia Lawrence Scholarship quickly gained substantial support, soon becoming a celebrated and impactful addition to their foundation's initiatives. One warm evening, as summer dusk painted Manhattan in shades of soft amber and lavender, William and Claire gathered at a cozy rooftop restaurant overlooking the vibrant city. A gentle breeze carried soft music and laughter from nearby tables, creating a comfortable backdrop for their quiet conversation. William raised his glass thoughtfully, voice gentle yet heartfelt. Claire, seeing what you've accomplished fills me with immense pride. Your mother's legacy lives beautifully through you. Claire smiled gently, eyes moist with emotion. I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without you, Dad. Your support means everything to me. I feel like I've truly found where I belong. William's eyes softened deeply, his voice tender. You were always meant to find your way back to me, Claire. Back to us. I firmly believe your mother guided you home. Claire nodded thoughtfully, comforted deeply by his words. I feel her guiding us even now. Each decision, each step we take, it feels like she's gently guiding us forward. As evening deepened, city lights twinkling softly around them, father and daughter shared quiet reflections, gentle laughter, and heartfelt conversations that deepened their already profound bond. Under the starry night sky, the beauty of their journey revealed itself fully, transforming loss into healing, uncertainty into clarity, and loneliness into a rich tapestry of enduring love and unbreakable family ties. Summer deepened into a golden autumn, bringing with it a gentle, reflective peace. William and Claire continued nurturing their bond, a relationship beautifully forged from resilience, compassion, and the unwavering strength of family. The Julia Lawrence Foundation thrived, becoming an influential force for good, celebrated widely for its profound impact. The scholarship program flourished, directly improving the lives of countless young people who, like Claire, had once faced uncertainty about their past and future. One crisp September afternoon, William and Claire visited their family estate upstate again. The sprawling grounds were now bathed in warm shades of amber, rust, and gold. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves around them, creating a soothing, rhythmic rustling. Sitting comfortably on the front porch, wrapped in warm blankets against the crisp air, Claire and William shared stories, laughter, and quiet memories. Claire nestled closer to her father, voice gentle and reflective. "Dad, looking back, it's incredible how far we've come," she murmured softly. "I never dreamed I'd feel so complete, so connected." William's eyes glistened with quiet joy and deep satisfaction. "Claire, you've given my life meaning again. Seeing you reclaim your identity, finding your purpose, it's everything your mother and I could have ever wished for." They sat quietly together, peacefully absorbing the tranquil beauty surrounding them, allowing the serene atmosphere to deepen their sense of belonging and completeness. After a gentle pause, William spoke softly, his tone thoughtful yet tender. "Your mother always envisioned a family filled with love, strength, and kindness. She would be incredibly proud, Claire, not only of who you've become, but of how you've touched so many lives." Claire squeezed his hand gently, eyes warm and earnest. "None of this would have happened without you. You never stopped searching, never lost faith. I promise to carry forward the love you and Mom have given me." As dusk settled, casting the estate in hues of gentle twilight, William softly suggested, "Let's take a walk through your mother's gardens." She loved how peaceful it was at this hour. Slowly strolling through winding paths lined with vibrant autumn blooms, they shared comfortable silences interwoven with soft memories and quiet laughter. At the heart of the garden, beside a serene, reflective pond, William gently stopped. "This was your mother's favorite place," he said tenderly. "She always said it felt as though time stood still here, preserving every cherished memory." Claire gazed thoughtfully at the tranquil water, her heart filled with deep gratitude and gentle reflection. "It feels like she's here with us now, doesn't it? Watching over us, reminding us that love never truly leaves." William nodded, profoundly moved. "Exactly, Claire. Her love remains, guiding us forward every day." As evening softly descended, father and daughter lingered quietly together, hearts fully entwined through their extraordinary journey. Beneath the gentle glow of twilight, surrounded by the quiet beauty Julia had once nurtured, they felt profoundly connected, not just by memories, but by an enduring legacy of love, hope, and the unbreakable strength of family. Their reunion, once unimaginable, had become their greatest triumph, a beautiful testament to resilience, hope, and the power of unwavering love.